Hey guys, my name's John. This is An Air Outdoors. Welcome to the channel. Now, for my viewers that are around, I owe you a review of the truck now that I've had it for a while. For those of you new, maybe you'll learn something new. Yeah, this is a 5,000 mile review of the truck. I've had it since September of 24. This is a 2.7 liter V6 FX4. It was custom ordered via the X program and basically all optioned out as far as you can get with the XLT. I've got 5,000 miles on the truck. It's been over 7 to 8 months because I'm blessed with a short commute. And I love everything I've gotten about this. There's a couple things I would change possibly, but I'm still pretty happy with the XLT. Now, I did find one thing that had I really thought about it, I might have chose a Lariat over the XLT. This may change your mind too. So hang around to find out. But yeah, let's get into it. Short version. Absolutely love this truck. No problems other than a door needing a little bit of adjustment, which I did on my own. I find the engine has so much power. It is extremely smooth. The transmission is great. Um, Fits great with my GFC. And again, I think that the biggest thing I can say is that if I had to do this again, I would probably pretty much order the same truck. Now, if you want to hang around, here's the long version. So again, I love this truck. It is extremely well thought out. I think it's a very good looking without being over the top.
It's not uncommon, even
8 months of ownership for me to like see this truck in a little bit of different light or a little different angle and just think, damn, that's a nice looking truck. Other things aren't necessarily obvious on a test drive that I've noticed. Some really well thought out options for storage, like just lots of places to put your phone. The air conditioning, heating, it's been fantastic. I never felt it's overburdened. And, even though there are any vents directly to the back other than under the seats, it seems to cool down the cab pretty well. It heats the cab up pretty well. So I'm not thinking that's a huge deal. The heated seats are on point, maybe even too warm, at least on their highest level. I tend to use the level 2. It's been great. And the truck without the camper, extremely quiet on the interstate. Even with the camper, I do not feel it is exceptionally noisy. So they've done a good job with some soundproofing. Headlight wise, I find the low beams are okay, they're adequate. High beams are pretty good. But this is one place where, if you're going to be doing a lot of like back road driving at night, it may be worth looking at a Lariat because they have a different headlight cluster. I found the seats are pretty comfortable for me, and the seats in the back are great. There's a lot of space in the back. Car seats aren't a problem with this truck. I really like the infotainment system, and as I mentioned in one of my earlier reviews, I'm incredibly impressed with that 360-degree camera system. It was part of a package I got mostly for the adaptive cruise control, which is also pretty fantastic as long as you keep the wheel jiggled occasionally when it's on a straight section. But man, the camera system's really changed how I park, how I use the truck in general. And it's going forward is going to be a feature I make a point of looking for in future vehicles. My biggest complaint about the infotainment actually isn't Ford's part. It's the Apple part. I really wish that Apple had some more flexibility with the main display, that home screen. I think that it would be better off laid out with a 2/3, 1/3 style layout of the upper and lower problem. But again, that's not a Ford issue. That's an Apple issue. Drivetrain's been fantastic. Again, this is the 2.7 liter V6, and I chose it for a number of reasons. Power, because I knew I was going to be putting the GFC on top. The smoothness, reliability, ease of service. And let me delve into that a little bit. So the 2.7 liter V6, it was the first in the line of what are called the nano engines. I think the 3 liter V6 that's in the Raptor is kind of based off of this too. It was developed from the ground up for a truck, and it's currently kind of in its version 2. First announced in I think 2015, was used in the F-150, and since made its way into other vehicles. The Ranger version, you look at 315 horsepower, 400 foot-pounds of torque, and it's built like differently than many other gasoline engines, almost like a diesel engine. Uses a compressed graphene iron block, and it uses both port and direct fuel injection, which helps keeps the valves clean, which is one of the reasons why I chose this, because I thought it was going to have a little better longevity than the 2.3-liter inline four of the 2024s. And then the way it's designed, it just makes service for like people who are doing stuff at home a little bit easier with top axis cartridge oil filter. Speaking of service, Ford's recommended service interval is 10,000 miles, and I'm not so sure that's for the best. So I'm still planning on letting Ford service the truck at 10,000 miles, and I'm going to supplement this with a full synthetic oil change at the 5,000-mile intervals. I've already done 2 changes so far, so one after break-in and then one at 5,000 miles, and I found this super simple because of that top-mounted oil cartridge filter and the Ronin oil plug I installed after my first change. Now, when I did my first oil change, I wasn't even certain I was going to put the Ronin in, but after starting the oil change, absolutely. If you plan on doing your own oil changes, get the Ronin. Don't think twice about it. Your life will be less messy. Now, this is a twin turbo engine. That's part of the EcoBoost line. And one of the really common content comments I get from previous videos actually relate to that and the fact this truck has the auto start stop. The concern is that because the engine is off, the turbo will be starved for oil, and it'll basically lead to premature turbo failures. Now, in the 10,000, no, in the 10 years this engine's been out, turbo failures have not been something we've heard of. Really, the issues surrounding the engine were mostly in the version 1, and then a couple of years ago in the Broncos with a bad batch of metal used to make valves. So I think that, the concern, it makes sense, but it's not really well founded with this current way the engines are made of. The other thing about these is that they're just a different architecture than a lot of the original turbo types, a lot of aftermarket turbos, because the turbos are actually water cooled. And while the engine is off and oil is not going to be pumped into the turbos, there is an auxiliary water pump that keeps the engine coolant circulating when the engine's off. So I think I'm going to hold off on any auto start stop delete kits. I'm not finding it actually impacts my daily driving. And I appreciate the fuel economy gains, especially with the carpool line where the engine would just be running at idle for a long time. Now, another reason that I chose this engine was I knew I was going to have a constant load on the truck with the Go Fast camper. Hopefully the GoFax is pretty light in all things considered, and it's pretty low profile, but still it's an additional weight, it's additional air disturbance. And I was hoping that by choosing this more powerful engine, it was going to have less of a hit on fuel economy because it wasn't going to have to work as hard. And I've been really pleased with this outcome. I've been tracking my fuel economy pretty closely, and for the first 2,500 miles or so right before I got the camper, I've been seeing about 18.2 miles per gallon. And since I put the camper on about 2,500 miles ago, it's also been 18.2 miles per gallon. Now, this is regular unleaded. It's mostly commuting, work, stop and go, carpooling, driving. Now, I will say that I noticed kind of as I was driving the GFC equipped Ranger on the interstate, and keeping a track of that kind of fuel economy real-time gauge, that if I crept much over 70, the economy tends to tank pretty quickly. So my plan is to keep it 70 or under for most of my driving, and I'm okay with that. That's what most of the interstates out here are. So yeah, really pleased with the engine choice, that 2.7-liter V6. I think that my idea that the larger, more powerful engine would be better matched to the GFC was well-founded. Now, one of the things I discussed earlier was that longevity, the concern with the port and direct fuel injection. It decreases the need for some service stuff. If you're looking at a 2025 Ranger, most of the truck line's exactly the same as a 2024. However, there was a change to the engine lineup that Ford is not making a big deal about. And that's that the 2.3-liter inline 4-cylinder engine has transitioned to the same type of dual fuel injection. and it negates some of that longevity concern that I had with the four cylinder. And it's still, the four cylinder is still pretty powerful. Um, I think that had this been the case at the truck's launch, it would have made my decision a bit harder. But I'm still really happy with what I have, and I think I would probably get another 2.7 again. And now, one thing to mention about this too is that Ford isn't really advertising this. This is not from something gleaned from the Ford's website. It's actually from owners who have purchased the 2.3 in the 2025 on the Ranger 6G website, being like, why doesn't my engine look the same as last year's? And it's because they did change the architecture to add that dual port and direct injection. Now, I have had a little bit of opportunity to use the four-wheel drive. Sorry, I don't have any videos. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do that, and they're not that interesting. But no problems with transferring in and out of four-wheel drive high, in and out of four-wheel drive low. Um, it's really no problems with it. I'm hopeful to do more of it in the future so I can report back a better idea with traction control and things like that. But I had no problems in the snow or on the dirt trails I used when I was doing some stuff. Now, during my ownership, I have done a decent amount of modifications to the truck. The most obvious is the Go Fast camper. But I've also put a hidden light set behind the grill. I put in some ditch lights, door sill protectors, door edge guards, a wolf tooth rear view monitor, and I'm sure there's some others I have not remember right now. The biggest again, that Go Fast camper. Now this is the V2 Pro model, and in the few nights I've gotten to spend in it, it's been extremely pleasing. The Turbo Nap mattress is quite outstanding. It's better than pretty much any other camping mattress I've used, and probably rivals my home mattress, or maybe more comfortable. And I've enjoyed the versatility of it. It's been really nice to have a quick access awning, to have a place that you can stand up in that's nice and dry and self-contained. And I've got lots of projects that I'm kind of working on regarding the camper, either completed ones or coming up. I've made a bracket for the 270 awning so I can also use the Go Fast camper door awning. I've made some light mounts. I'm still working on these, kind of figuring out a couple things, but I think I'm about to the final design. And they attach under the overhang at the front to allow some like side lighting that's kind of out of the way. I'm working on some handles. I've got a couple little prototypes here. Just an additional something you can grab to kind of climb up onto the tailgate while you're doing it, or with the side steps that the Ranger has, climb up on the side steps. I'm working on a Molly panel for the cab because no one's really making one. And I'm kind of figuring out some things that allow some modularity for it, which is interesting. And then I designed these Maxtrax mounts. They're kind of ripoffs of somebody else, but I figured that I could design and make them for myself for less than the $300 they were looking at. And I was right. And who knows, I've got some people on the forums that have been asking for this sort of design that also interconnects with the beef bars. So I've actually got those coming from my supplier to try out, and we'll see what I think about it. Oh, as I said earlier, there was one thing that actually might have changed my mind about getting the Lariat of an XLT. And it's something that really only became an issue as the weather changed. So for me, kind of being in the South, it's only a few weeks of the year, not a huge deal. But still something that maybe would have made a difference for me, maybe will make a difference for you. And no, it's not that there's an actual key for the truck. It's not that the seats are cloth, not the headlights, but it's rather that the side view mirrors aren't heated. And I almost consider this a safety issue. And I'm kind of disappointed Ford just didn't include it on the entire line for that reason. I mean, you have heaters for the windshield, like the rear glass has heaters in it. Why are the side view mirrors not heated? And I think some of you who live up north, this actually might make a big deal. So keep a eye out on it as you make your purchase decisions. So yeah, all in all, just absolutely adoring this truck. It has been fantastic. I have had no problems with it. I've gotten to use it how I've wanted to spend more time with my family on these camping trips. Just makes it super easy with the Go Fast. So if this is the sort of thing that you're interested in, I've got some trip reports in the past, more coming up. Make sure to like and subscribe. But for now, no roar.
No roar.